9.
This is a annual board meeting of the Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority. It is 5:02 on Thursday, January 9th, 2025, and this meeting is called to order. Mr. Lawrence, any letters of communications to the board?
Not this month, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Approval of board minutes? December.
I do have a letter, an email from Jennifer Pickman, who indicated that she had reviewed the minutes from the December 12th board meeting, and everything looks to be in order.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept those meetings?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the board minutes of December 12th, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? They are approved. Report from the nominating committee. Mrs. Squires? Threw you off, didn't I?
You did. I just learned this 2 minutes ago. Do you just want me to read this paper? Okay, all right. So here's the proposed slate of officers for 2025. Chairperson is Vernon B. Burns. Vice Chairperson Megan Witten. Secretary Jennifer Quirk-Pickman. Treasurer Nicole Terminelli. Assistant Secretary Tony Squires. Assistant Treasurer David King. And Member Diana Para.
Thank you. And is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor of that selection of officers, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Designation of staff. Tony, if you would do that too, please.
Okay. So I move, I guess, to have the executive director be Steve Lawrence and our chief financial officer be Patty Nisco. Oh my gosh, out of my head. I'm so sorry.
That's why we have the bigger nameplates. And then as in the motion,
Yes.
and is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Other appointments. Tony?
Okay. Counsel Willatus Law Firm and for the U.S. and Gowling Liffler Henderson LLP for Canada. Newspapers for legal notices is the Watertown Daily Times. Banks are the Community Bank, M&T Bank, Key Bank, Tompkins Trust, Watertown Savings Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, and other full-service commercial institutions.
Thank you. And is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Reports. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Ms. Terminelli?
Due to the time constraints that the chair of the finance committee placed upon that committee, we didn't meet, so I've asked permission to roll it into this meeting.
Thank you.
So I'm going to turn it over to Patty.
As always, we'll start with the statement of financial position. You'll notice that our accounts receivable regulars are at $219,000, and that's it. There's no more AEAS, so all we're going to see from now on is either grants receivable or just regular accounts receivable. 97% of that open accounts receivable is current for 1 to 30 days. We move on down. We see our prepaid expenses going down as every month we move the prepaid to the insurance expense accounts. Our construction in progress still remains at 11,754,040. We have not had an answer yet from the question as to whether the airport malls app can be closed. We have requested information on that front payment that we made for the FAA, and we have had yet no response as to whether we will get any of that money back. That's all we're waiting for. We can close it for the lower amount, assuming we'll get the money back, or we can close it at the higher amount, assuming that it's been so long we won't see it. So that would just be a decision we would have to make. Our accounts payable regular is at 207. Again, there's no AEAS any longer. At the end of the fiscal year, the AEAS lines will just disappear. New York State retirement has been paid in full in December. So
Very
we-
nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Scraped and scrimped, and we got that done. All the project AP of the 1.2 million, almost 1.1 million has since been paid. And that is money that we then wait for to be reimbursed, and then we roll it back into more payments. And if we look at our accounts payable, our top 7 vendors, it's amazing to see that we now have to go into single digits to get the highest open accounts payable. But again, we're thankful that's what the stabilization has allowed us to keep in check. And as a side note to that, we have submitted a request for stabilization funding for the 25-26 fiscal year in the amount of the deficit for the 24-25 fiscal year. So we won't know until the budget's passed, but we hope it gets from committee to a line item as it did last year. Any questions on the statement of financial position? So we'll move on to the budget to actual. And you'll notice that we are still well above in overall income. We're at 231,000 over what we had anticipated. That 215,000 negative for the contour will stay with us until the end of the fiscal year. There weren't as many flights, so we didn't get as much income. And that will just stay with us at the 215 until fiscal year end, when all of that will go away. When you look at our bridge expenses, our maintenance expense at 14,000 over budget. Currently, we have purchased 2 loads of salt for the bridge area, the maintenance, at just over 10,000. We had a man lift rental for 7,400. I didn't know they were this expensive, but the muffler for the 2004 International was $1,900. So we had a number of things like that that have brought it up over budget. Our legal expenses, we have actually taken $22,000 out of the year-to-date actual and moved it down to the airport's year-to-date actual, because those legal expenses had to do with the sale of the airport property. The maintenance expenses at the airport, out of that 35,200, or 22,000 is the PAPI lighting. And then an additional 2,500 to have those lights installed. So that's the biggest chunk of that bridge. We also had to have gate repairs at the FBO that totaled $9,995. So that's pretty much where our overage for that has come from. The interest expense under the airport is only the interest on the line of credit for the airport revitalization project. So at this point, we have spent $17,000 of interest while we wait for the money to come back from New York State to pay down the line. The security expense, the monthly invoices have been coming in between $23,000 and $26,000. So over the course of 9 or 10 months here, we've acquired about another month's worth of. Hopefully, when the new contract takes effect on January 1st, we should see some of that come down if we don't have our specific officers. So we're we're hopeful. The maintenance expense on Commerce Park is the new exterior door for Hobies and More, and we were excited. Anthony attended, is probably going to speak about it. They had a grand opening after the new door was put in, so it was a nice thing to see that now you can get in and out. Border station expenses, there was some required water testing to approximately $5,000, and then the balance is the paving that we were able to, the repairs we were able to on the paving. Any questions on the budget? And I just wanted to make one comment. We do have, the closing dates are come and gone for the admin assistant, the event coordinator, and the executive coordinator positions. And the personnel committee has all kinds of resumes for these positions. The senior accountant position, I went out to our man at One Digital, who came back and gave me some advice. We've put it out again without a range of salary, with just the high point of the salary, which was acceptable. And he felt with benefits and that salary, and he also offered a phrase to put in with consideration for my position within a 2-year period. So we're hoping.
I love it. I like it.
So we're hoping that might attract a different level of applicant, knowing that they are indeed being watched to take over when I retire. And the personnel committee needs to meet as soon as we can, so we can get on with all those other people and then have interviews.
Who's chair of that committee?
Not it yet.
No.
No, it's not making.
That would be the
Now, Meg.
vice
Yeah.
chair.
I meet somebody on the call, I don't know.
After January what hurts.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all I have.
I'm all set.
All set from the finance committee.
Yes.
Anyone have any questions of Nicole or Patty? No? We'll go to Bridge traffic report.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. December saw overall crossings were down by 8.4%, which is still down, but it's better than our budget expectations. So from a budget standpoint, that's good. Auto crossings were down 8.3. Truck traffic was down 9.5% over 2019. Overall revenue was down 44,000 over December of 2019. And then revenue was up 6,000 over last year, 2023. One thing we'll see here with Breeze starting the flights to Orlando, we're going to see, I think we'll see bridge traffic, or hopefully we do, and we'll just see how that affects that, because that's one factor out of all these numbers that you've been getting every month that we didn't have a really good, with the Canadian traffic and Canadian travelers, we didn't have a really good thing going there. So hopefully with the Breeze flights coming for Florida, we'll be looking to see, with the expectation we'll see maybe better numbers with that. So, that's pretty much. Any questions on those?
So the loss of revenue for the calendar year 2024, we're down $500,000.
Yes. there's gonna come a point where we're so far away from 2019 that we really need to move forward. So a lot of this was always done through the governor's office, just to give them where we're at, but I think we're at a point where we may be dropping that comparison just because it's technically ancient history for us. We know that we're not gonna get there.
Right. Anyone have any questions? Move on to the airport activity report.
Yes, so December, we still conducted 30 flights for the month, with one canceled flights, but they did make up the flight the next day, so next morning. Still looking at 97% completion rate. On-time performance went down a little bit. We got 2 events on diverts, on weather diverts, but the plane ended up coming back.
Charlie, could you explain the diversion, where they're going and the
Yes.
process involved in that? Because I have been asked that question by a number of board members.
Yep. So we did have weather diverts. So really, mainly is the visibility. They couldn't come down because of less than a mile visibility that's required by the FAA. So what happened? What they do is they will try to circle in the air and see if the visibility starts, showing better. But if not, if they reach their minimum fuel, then they have to divert to another airport. So which they did. First airport they went to was Burlington, which they have base there. Second one was Providence, Rhode Island, and that's actually they've been using Providence a lot because that's actually their crew base. So what they're doing right now is because their crew flew all day, so usually the plane come from Provo into Dulles, and then from Dulles into Onsburg, and then Onsburg fly right back to Dulles. So if that crew achieve any more time than what they needs to be, they will time out, so they can't fly no more and get rest. So what they do to control that is they fly that right to their crew base and swap crews. So what they do is they land the plane, and then the different sets of crew goes on the plane and fly right back to Onsburg, and then it goes right back to Dulles. So, and all the passenger was really impressed that with weathers, the airline doesn't require to compensate them anything, like I said before, but they still take pride in bringing them back to Onsburg, even on a weather divert. So, which I think is a very, very good thing. So.
They didn't do, our other carrier didn't do that, right?
No.
They were in a different
Correct.
state and they had to
Correct.
figure it out.
Drive, rent a car.
They have to drive or rent a car and figure out how they're gonna get home.
So essentially, they'll take them to Providence and then they'll fly them back to Dulles and then they'll fly them from Dulles again the next round.
Nope. So they're flying them right from Providence right back to Onsburg.
Oh, good.
So
then
they
you
just
have to go
fuel
back
up,
to-
right?
Nice.
So they just let them off for a little bit. They fuel up, and everybody get
That's
to
great.
stand out for a little bit, and then gets right back on the plane and come back.
That's excellent.
So it's been well.
They've been very cooperative.
The
Yep.
weather has been rough so far this winter.
Correct. So and then the 19% of load factor. I know, like I said, I know it seems low, but for 137 seat, that's very encouraging. I did a little calculation. Really, what we need on the A220, we're looking for a 21% load factor daily. We're looking at 19% already right now. We're 2% from hitting our 10,000 enplanements.
Isn't it better to look at the deplane numbers than the actual flight load when you're comparing them to Contour?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they both are really, load factor really gave a different perspective because of different aircraft. But if you're looking at the plane loads, like Megan says, it does give you a better perspective.
I mean, the number of passengers deplaned is increasing every month,
Yep,
just
yep.
significantly too, like not a small amount. So
Yep.
that's encouraging.
So, and then for December of last year, we got 441 Contour flown last year, and so 441. But this year we're almost double that, which is good. So again, we're looking for an average of 834 passenger a month to reach 10,000, and that's just on Dulles route. So if we reach 21% on Dulles route on top of Orlando routes, we'll hit 10,000 no problem. So very encouraging. And then Breeze has been working with us on a lot of different perspective, marketing and everything. I don't know if you guys all see it, but there's 2 billboards right now currently on Route 68 that displays Breeze on it. Where Breeze's advertisement on it, billboards. It's on Route 68 going towards Canton. There's one right, as soon as you pass Blevins to the right of it, that's one of them. And another one is right past SPCA, maybe 2 minutes to the left of it. There's another Breeze one right there.
Haven't seen
Yeah.
You'll have to notice that. No, you don't go that way.
I did today,
You
yeah.
go 8 to
I went
10.
from Keaton, so yeah.
Yeah. So they're planning on doing more, and they're getting really involved with Anthony in regards to giveaways for tickets for different events and stuff. So Anthony's working with them on that. So far so good for them with working with us.
I think the difference in I think we're seeing the value in customer service more
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
And they take pride of their service. That's another thing. Actually, 2 days ago we got a brand new aircraft that's 2 days old.
Really?
So that even the passenger says it smells new. So
that new plane smell. Yeah.
Yep. So and then another thing to brief on. So Trago's been doing DI service with us. I briefed a little bit on it. So that did brought our increase of traffic for the winter for a little bit. That's probably you see the uptick on the income that in the winter we're seeing more airport revenue in the winter. And again, without the ice capabilities, really we can't. The aircraft really won't even come in because they know that they will get stuck in Onsburg because without de-ice capabilities. So we've been working around that. So that done really well. We've done a lot of work for LifeNet. So LifeNet to be able to do medical flight because of the de-ice. And which is why I'm currently working with McFarland Johnson on the aviation capital grant that's by the New York State that just recently came out this year.
It's due by the end of January.
Due by end of January.
Grant application.
Yep. And then I'm working with them in regards to de-ice equipment of how important to have it in the airport for different services. So that's all I got.
So the de-icing of the medical flights out, do you have a picture of that?
Well, I think they're doing de-ice pretty often, so I can get you more pictures. Yes.
You should get a picture and submit it.
Yeah. And then we're getting a letter of support from Air Method that will submit along with the grant application. So.
Good.
I'm sorry, Air Method, what are they?
Yeah, that's the main company what it is. We call it LifeNet, but I think Air Method is really who they are.
The official name?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So they do the medical flights they got a helicopter and a single engine they use.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Well, if Breeze keeps increasing 4% in their load factor a month, that's pretty good.
Right.
Pretty good. Nice to see more cars out at the airport.
Yes, and I'm seeing a lot of Ottawa cars. I think one of the heaviest load we got right now. I don't think I ever see it last year. I think one of the heaviest load was 87 passenger on one flight.
Good.
That was before Christmas, I believe.
Excellent. You don't have any questions, Charlie? If not, we'll move on to the board activity report.
Yeah, I'll handle a little bit of that. James is in Chicago at a safety seminar put on by OMLC. So he's there for the week. He'll be back tomorrow, but I can talk a little bit about the report. Really, salt activity is the major one going on, and that's just all related with the weather. And then these light snowfalls are actually they're good for us because it isn't like one cluster and then the roads are fine for a while. It's just, it seemed every day this week, we were kind of, we're used to it, but it's enough where the plow crews have to be out, all the townships are using that. So, and it looks like we're going to see that kind of pattern right through end of January, I think, from what I can tell. Morton salt has been, the salt we have there is about, 4,400, I think. Anyway, that pile has been here for a long time, but that was sold to another company and they'll be taking that out. So that's not going directly, we're not shipping that directly to townships. It's gonna go to a location and then they'll ship it out. But that's kind of good to get that space, but also that pile's been there 3 years, Anthony?
Yeah, been for a while.
Because Morton hasn't been getting any contracts. So that, and then as far as grain goes, it's just been pretty steady, just nothing big in that, on that part. But that's about all I have right now.
Anyone have any questions, Steve, regarding anything to do with the fort? No? If not, we'll move on to economic development report.
So starting with occupancy, things are maintaining. Commerce Park, 89% occupancy. The resolution I'm going to present tonight will bring that number up to 90%. So that's a 1% increase. But it's actually, it's great to utilize the space that organization is going to take because it's a really nice space and it's been vacant for some time. As Patty alluded, our newest tenant, Hoagies and More, had their ribbon cutting ceremony in early December. That was an event that was put on by the St. Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce. It was well attended. We were happy to see that, and we've been working along with the tenant on making sure they got everything they need to be successful in potential expansion within the Commerce Park. So those are good discussions. As Charlie alluded to, we've been in conversation with Breeze on the marketing front. In particular, on the organic marketing, we've identified 2 organizations that we want to support with ticket donations that they could use for fundraising events. And that's in the mid-February timeframe for when those events are. There's one on the Canadian side, one on the US side. So we're just working out the fine details of what that's going to look like. And we're excited about that. What else for this month? We've been working with TSA at the airport to make sure their move to temporary accommodations and then relocation back to their permanent space is smooth. That's going as planned, so that's nice. And then we've been in contact with, or in discussions with Dank in the city of Ogdensburg to make sure all connections, water and sewer, that's actually occurred. So that's good. And then discussing long-term utilization of those, that utility corridor for future use. So it's been good.
Any questions of Anthony? Lawrence, any unfinished business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll move into business items. Agenda item A1.
Agenda item A1 is the approval of the retainer agreement extension with Strategic Development Specialists LLC. They are an MWBE firm. The authority has contract with Strategic Development Specialists and MWBE organization to assist the authority with government affairs and advocacy of the authority projects, to provide information on policies and programs that have a potential impact on the authority, and to assist in strategic planning efforts to advance the interests of the authority with respect to identifying, securing, and implementing grants and other incentive pertaining to the authority's priorities and programs. The authority has negotiated to extend the current contract for a period January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 at a cost of $6,000 per month. There will be no monthly fee increase over the 2024 agreement.
Excellent. Their motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squire?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item A2.
Agenda item A2, just let me preface this with, this is to apply for and accept the grant funding from the USDA, but we haven't officially got the grant, even though the money's been put aside. There's things that we have to do to meet that. So officially, we haven't had that, but in order to, get everything in order here, we're gonna put out a resolution that allows us to apply for and accept the grant funding when it comes through. We're almost there. I would imagine we'll see something the end of January, but it's pretty crucial to the childcare project. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority is currently submitting an application package for grant funding from the USDA Rural Development Agency in the amount of $2,100,000 for the construction of the new child care center on the OBPA Commerce Park campus at an estimated cost of $4,770,000. The funding is made available from the Community Facilities Fiscal Year 23 Congressional Directive Grant. This resolution authorized the executive director to apply for and accept, if awarded, grant funding from the Northern, that's wrong. That should be from the USDA Rural Development Agency on that part. I apologize for that.
It's still the Catalyst program.
Yes. Yeah, I could remove that and put in USDA Rural Development Agency.
It's right below, right?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. All the numbers below are correct. US, yeah, RDA Rural Development Agency. Okay, the resolution is correct, Mr. Lawrence, is that right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squire?
Yes.
Mr. Manelli?
Yes.
Yep. Agenda item A3.
Each year, the authority is required to complete reporting to the state of New York. As part of that process, it is required by the state that the authority designated officer appointments to represent the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. It is recommended by staff that the following be appointed to the positions as outlined below: contracting officer, executive director; liaison, Office of Prevention of Domestic Violence, executive director; minority women business enterprise officer, CFO; ethics officer, executive director; data coordinator, CFO; records access officer, executive coordinator; service disabled veteran-owned business officer, CFO; sustainability coordinator, director of operations. The New York State requires that these appointments be renewed each year at the annual meeting of the Board of Directors of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squire?
Yes.
Mr. Manelli?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes. Agenda item A4.
Reappointment of the OBPA executive director. Whereas Stephen Lawrence has held the position of executive director since January 1st, 2021, and whereas Stephen Lawrence has shown the ability to manage the day-to-day operations of the OBPA, and with his many years of experience at the authority, he understands the culture and mission of this authority, and whereas Stephen Lawrence has proven to the board of directors that the authority has functioned well under his leadership. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority hereby reappoint Stephen Lawrence as Executive Director of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, and be it further resolved that Stephen Lawrence will receive the salary already approved by the Board of Directors.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
You sure under the report part, it shouldn't say with his many, many years? of experience?
Listen, we want him to stay, okay?
Get him a wheelchair.
Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Squire,
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Even Tony voted.
I know.
It was close.
He was already packed, ready to go.
Agenda item B1.
Agenda item B1 is for the Ogdensburg Prescott International Bridge. It's actually for the administration building. The approval for creation of a spill prevention and control countermeasure, an SPCC plan for the administration building. Staff solicited a fixed fee proposal for the creation of an SPCC plan for the administration building location. This is an EPA requirement due to the amount of fuel stored above ground tanks and the proximity of the tanks to navigable waters, the St. Lawrence River. McFarland Johnson, the lowest proposer or bidder, proposed to create an SPCC plan for the administration building location for the amount of $11,838. To remain in environmental compliance, staff recommends approval of the proposal by McFarland Johnson for a cost not to exceed $11,838.
Motion?
So move.
Second.
Second. Is this something new?
It is for here. We always had it for the port because of, we have salt and we have fuel tanks down there. Then you have fuel tanks at the airport, but also you have runoff. With here, we kind of overlooked this, but when the state comes in and they see the tanks here, you got spill prevention plan. So if something were to diesel because they're, everything's been above ground and we improved the tanks there, but that's not enough. There's still.
You actually have to have a plan in place.
Yes.
Is it a one-time expense or do
Yeah,
we
it
have to
is,
keep
and
doing this?
You're gonna
Okay.
see another one there. Every 10 years, you have to redo them.
Okay, so it's a,
So this one didn't have one, but the ones that I think there's another one in here that's a 10-year re-upping of the current plan.
Any further discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Terminelli? Yes. Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
yes.
Ms. Squire?
Yes.
Agenda item C1.
Agenda item C1 is the approval of a 5-year internal sprinkler inspection. The sprinkler systems in the leased spaces at Commerce Park must adhere to performance standards set forth by the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, and the New York State Building Codes. Davis Ulmer currently conducts our annual and biannual sprinkler inspections. They have provided a quote in the amount of $14,587 to conduct internal 5-year inspection as well as other sprinkler system work at our Commerce Park locations. Staff reviewed the details of the purchase and recommends purchasing this service from Davis Ulmer in the amount of $14,587.
And there's a local company.
They're out of Syracuse. They bought out
SFI.
SFI or SRI.
Okay.
That's fine.
SFI. But then SFI bought out the original people that we had. But I think we do quarterly inspections on all the buildings that have sprinkler systems. And then, as you go along, there's more code requirements. So the 5 years, I think this is the first time for a 5-year for us.
Okay. Motion
So moved.
Motion?
made and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squire?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item C2.
Agenda item C2 is similar to in the sense of we never formalized this. We did get an announcement that we received that from ESD, but we never formalized that. So we're making sure that it was an oversight on my part. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority intends to carry out a project to construct a 15,000 square foot child care center in the Ogdensburg, the OBPA Commerce Park campus. Empire State Development, ESD, has offered a regional council award incentive proposal to the authority in the amount of $954,000 to assist with the construction of the OBPA Child Care Center project. The funds are to be used by the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority to establish a licensed child care facility in the OBPA Commerce Park campus. The OBPA will be required to ensure all funds are expended according to the terms and conditions of the ESD award, including MWBE, equal employment opportunity, and contractor diversity compliance. Staff recommends acceptance of this regional council award incentive proposal.
Motion
So moved.
Second?
made and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squires?
Yes.
Mr. Medalli?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes. Agenda item C3.
Okay. Approval of lease agreement with the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, DASNY. Staff has negotiated a new lease agreement with the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for 1,516 square feet of office space in Building 4 of the Commerce Park campus for a 5-year period beginning upon the execution of a rent commencement letter at the following rates, inclusive of utilities. So the below chart, year one, $15.75 per square foot, $23,877 per year, or a $1,989.75 per month. Year two, an increase to $16.07 for an annual amount of $24,354.54, and a monthly amount of $2,029.55. Year three continues with increases at $16.39 per square foot, annual amount of $24,841.63 for a monthly rate of $2,070.14. Year four, amount per square foot goes up to $16.71 for an annual amount of $25,338.46, monthly rate of $2,111.54. Finally, year five, amount per square foot, $17.05. Annual amount per year is $25,845.23. Amount per month is $2,153,077. Further, an option to renew for an additional 5-year term at rates established by a fair market rental study performed by an independent appraiser is included in the lease agreement.
Thank you. Motion
Made.
Second.
seconded. Any discussion?
Do you know when they're anticipating starting?
Their board, it's going to be brought to their board in February, so I would imagine a March 1.
That's great. I'm happy to see a 5-year term on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these rates were established by, as it says, an independent appraiser. So
Good. Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Squires?
Yes.
Mr. Medalli? Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Agenda item E1.
Agenda item E1 is the Port of Ogdensburg Marine Terminal Improvements Phase 1 Engineering Design Services. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, OBPA, was awarded $1,164,681 in grant funding under the 2021 NISDOT Passenger and Freight Rail Assistance Program, PFRAP. The estimated total project cost is $1,294,090, with the OBPA providing $129,409 in non-state share in cash. The project will be split into 2 phases. Phase 1 will include Port Building 2, we call it P2, warehouse improvements with a project budget of $600,000. Phase 2 will include track reconstruction and rail replacement with a budget of $694,090. For this phase 1 of the project, the OBPA is seeking to make warehouse improvements to the 30,000 square foot P2 warehousing, consisting of the replacement of 2 overhead doors and the replacement of the existing metal roof that has reached the end of its useful life. The overhead doors will be replaced with modern doors rated for high wind loads and updated variable speed controls, and the roof will be replaced with a standing seam metal panels that will be properly flashed. Erdman Anthony has submitted a proposal to the Authority for Engineering Design Services associated with Phase 1 Port of Ogdensburg P2 warehouse improvement. Erdman Anthony costs to provide these services is as follows. For grant administration, $14,100. Environmental seeker is $9,300. Preliminary engineering is $11,400. Final design, $9,640. Bidding and construction support, $13,700. Construction observation, $12,480 for a total cost of $70,620. Staff recommends the approval of the Erdman Anthony proposal conditioned on the New York State Department of Transportation's review and approval of the Erdman Anthony proposal and associated costs. As a reminder, Erdman Anthony was selected as the Port of Ogdensburg engineering consultant through an RFQ process in February of 2022.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Terminelli? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squires?
Yes.
Agenda item E2.
Hanging in there. Agenda E2, the approval of stormwater pollution prevention plan with update for the Port of Ogdensburg. Staff solicited a fixed fees proposal for the update of the Port of Ogdensburg SWIP proposal. This is the New York State DEC and EPA requirement due to the location and business conducted at the Ogdensburg, the OBPA port location under permit GP-0-24-001. McFarland Johnson, the lowest bidder, proposed to complete this update for the amount of $13,157. To stay in environmental compliance, staff recommends approval of the proposal by McFarland Johnson for a cost of $13,157,000.
Thank you. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
And seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squires?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Agenda item G1.
Agenda item G1, this work has been completed, but when we found out what the total cost was, we felt we needed to bring that to the board for approval. The HVAC system is critical to the lease space and must adhere to strict performance standards set forth by the GSA lease. Trained scope of work for this repair includes replacing the cracked heat exchanger and test all functions after installation and return the unit to service. The total price for this repair was $7,108. Staff reviewed the details of this purchase and recommends purchasing this service from Trane for the amount of $7,108.
Motion
So moved.
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Whitten?
Yes.
Ms. Squires?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes. Any other matters?
No, Mr. Chair.
Any concluding comments from any authority staff or board members? Anyone online? Yes, all right. Next meeting proposed Thursday, February 13th at 5 p.m.
Sure, I left my phone in there. I don't know. Sure,
Sure, yeah.
sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good that day.
Megan, there you go. Let's do that. Hopefully we'll have some others. That's the day before Valentine's Day.
It's also winterlude in Ottawa,
Oh,
in case anyone wanted to know.
Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. If nothing else, or motion to adjourn,
Second.
made in second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Stand adjourned. All right, now we have two more. All we gotta do is find out where to put them.